Hey guys, I think we're gonna have to. First of all, I think my suggestion would be because when I was supposed to, I was partially right. I mean, the N64 version. I think the first one came out in 2001 on the N64 in Japan, and then the global release was in 2002 as an enhanced version, and then they had the E Plus back in 2003, which is a Japan only release here. But anyway, we're going to be talking about my message to fanboys. I could, detect fanboys for those who defended every single aspect of a company that's out there here. If you're running, I recommend everybody, if you're running a community, you should post a rule of no fanboyism. And if you bash a criticism to a company, okay, we have an Animal Crossing community. If you get bashed for having my thoughts about this, negative thoughts aspects of this one, saying, why isn't the NPCs roaming the island out there, which is a letdown, and then you get criticized for this one saying, oh, you're a whiny little gamer here who needs to get a life. I'm sorry, but you know what? That guy's a low IQ. I don't want to put it over here, but that guy needs to get a life. I mean, and the toxicology of the fanboys in these recent years is what is leading up to lower graded products that is going to be supposedly for more paywalls. And I have to say, let's put it this way here. Rogue companies that only care about their shareholders rather than the product and the consumers itself here. I mean, it's going to lead up to a crash again. And I'm going to be talking about some examples on how I dealt with fanboys in the past. There was a time when I had Resistance 3, when IGN was praising and just flooding the things and how great this thing is. And then I noticed at that point it has a PSN Pass on this one. At that point where I was against the PSN Pass, I said to them, hey, I'm not buying that game. And then the people out there came in looking at me like a fool. Yeah, I think people out there, yeah, you're obviously a fanboy. And that is right there. The other instances is Little Big Planet 3. I was a fan of Little Big Planet. I mean, Little Big Planet 2 was a great game. I don't think it's a perfect game out there, but it was a perfect example of a play, create, and share. I like to be able to play those troll levels and these great games here, and it was a platform for games, and then and people enjoy it. I like to enjoy it like this here. And yeah, of course, I was upset when the online was down. That was back in 2011. I'm not sure here when the PSN was down, and I just don't forget Sony about that point here. And then Little Big Planet 3 came out. They were and that was come by Sumo Digital. They were touting it as it was a big upgrade. It was 100% backwards compatible with Little Big Planets 1 and 2. So I got the game, import all my stuff, Little Big Planet 1 and 2. 90% of the things were not in there. I was uploading video after video of this broken game. I went on the forums and talking about my feelings about the Little Big Planet 3. Sure enough, people were against me. I'm gonna say, trying to get me to just tone it down, just enjoy the game. Look, I'm not enjoying a broken game. I was, I was on Sumo's platform to say, look, fix the game. And I say, hey, you fix the game. Sumo blocked me. And that was the end of Sackboy. Thanks to Sumo and their fanboys, I'm not a fan of that game anymore. Oh look, fanboys are going to enjoy the thing now. And I'm sure there's going to be EA fanboys out there who will bash people for dissing on their loot boxes and say, hey, it's a big surprise. It's not part of the game. No, these are, locked out content that you have on the disc that's locked out for loot boxes, and you have to pay and pay and pay and pay on this so-called rare thing here. And the companies are doing this to please their shareholders at this point here. And now this comes to Animal Crossing. I posted what my complaints are about the 3.0 update, like why doesn't the NPC, it was a missed opportunity for them. So, okay, they did take out a couple of stuff here that was, minor, like, some famous dialogue, but now they brought it back through the, they kind of brought it back with the hotel where you bring in Pave in. It says, oh, it's nice for you to be in the hotel. However, see me at the plaza and enjoy the thing over here. Yeah, they kind of brought it back with the hotel. So it's kind of a minor thing they lost, but then they kind of brought it back here. And it's the rooster says, sorry, I'm not available at this point. Which makes sense if, they're not on the island here. But what doesn't make sense to me is being able to explore the NPCs. I go to I go to the VIP room. A VIP room doesn't, explore the island much like the regular villagers do. And I have to say I'm disappointed about this one because it was something that I was hoping I would be able to do. It'd be a cool, if I was, inviting the NPC over so they can avoid Lottie. I tried that with Lottie. Hey, look at my island, but where's Lottie? Where's Lottie? This is, one of the things. And ever since I stopped, doing that until if Nintendo patches it up over here. And of course, some more and more stuff came up over here where I have to address it is, why am I getting cardboard related craftings I have to do to ship the things out? And I hope that Nintendo patches that out. Along with the trash items. It looks like these trash items are more and more valuable. So I could, craft that out for some tickets there. Yeah, it's going to be understanding. But at least tone that down quite a bit. So it's only works in maybe 1 in 100 like this here on how the rarity of how hard it is to get. But I'm getting too many cardboard boxes over here. The other complaint I put out is the Slumber Islands suck. And on top of that, you need Nintendo Switch Online. You can't use an amiibo on your Slumber Islands. And on top of that, you can only use your villagers that was past or present residents of your island, which kind of sucks. But at least Nintendo allowed me to plop down other structures here. And that and the Nintendo Switch Online shouldn't be required if you only get one game the game chooses to you when you do the consoles. You don't have a subscription needed if you're accessing the NES games back on the original Animal Crossing on GameCube. I posted that there in the community. These other fanboys, these other people come up to here and making me looking like a fool. That's, classic signs of fanboyism. If you're a fan of a game and you like it, don't be afraid to go up there and put some real thoughts about that here and criticizing, and if a thing pops up, don't speak out like this here. Like some folks, and yeah, I mean, there's some other folks over here who posted up about the Slumber Islands and why the Slumber Island sucks. what they posted were valid complaints. Alright? You know, I'm a fan. I like Animal Crossing. I do speak the stuff out that Nintendo could address about this one. I mean, but the fanboys are so toxic these days. They smother out these valid complaints, and what do fans sort of left out with? Eventually, we're going to get hit by inferior products because of what it is here. So, this is what I have to say about fanboy toxicology about this one. And you know what? I think if you're running a gaming community, you have to put anti-fanboy rules. And don't be afraid to speak out about this, because fanboys are, becoming a big problem. True fans, a true fan of a game out there, and look at how the Animal Crossings do. I mean, if a true fanboy comes out, hey Nintendo, please, this needs to be fixed like this here. This is, being a true fan players over here. They can they criticize the stuff over here. A big, good community of an Animal Crossing community or any gaming community criticizes the developers like this. This is what they should do. This is how innovations, this is how games get better. But fanboys, I don't know what to say. But I think it's time to, it should be addressed like this here. But maybe the communities should post some rules that, that addresses the issue. But yeah, this is me, JD, out. I think that, gamers, true gamers should, step up. I hate it when people defend the DRM saying, it costs money like this. Well, you know what? At a point in time where big companies only care about their shareholders, I think that is perhaps that we gamers can stand up and reformulate this so we can go back to, if we want the game to be good again, I think we can go back up. And lastly, I want to end this here. Animal Crossing's turned 25 years old. What Nintendo can do about this is add a GameCube console, or maybe even some N64 consoles, and then play Animal Forest and Animal Crossing. So within that game, it'd be great as I execute the thing here, and being able to go back to the past on the Animal Crossing within the Animal Crossing New Horizons game again. And yeah, on top of that, the other thing what they could do is, Nintendo should do, is put a thing here when I have a villager in my house. If I execute the Super Nintendo or whatever console it is, the villagers say, hey, I can play with you, and there you go. These are some suggestions over here. So fans, put some suggestions on the community here. I think that, Nintendo, you should start listening here. If you start listening to your things and, address them, I think the gaming could be better. That's what I have to say. JD out. Fanboys, if you start being a real fan, criticize them, and maybe the games will be better. And yeah, that's it.